A Celtic legend has delivered a brutal verdict on yesterday's defeat. There's concerning injury news that could leave us short in a crucial position, and a former boss has given his take on the work happening behind the scenes at Celtic Park. It's been a rough 24 hours for the Hoops, but first make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Chris Sutton has reacted strongly to Celtic's defeat at Tannadice, with the former striker offering a blunt assessment of where the team are right now. The 2-0 loss to Dundee United has left Celtic chasing in the title race, and the performance has added to the frustration building around the club. Celtic had plenty of the ball again, but never looked sharp enough in the final third. Dundee United were comfortable sitting in and dealing with crosses, while carrying more threat when they broke forward. It followed a pattern that has been there for a while. When Celtic go behind, there is not always a clear way back. The lack of a settled striker showed again, with chances coming but not being taken. Sutton's comments focused on that bigger picture, pointing to issues that go beyond one game. That lines up with what's been happening on the pitch. Celtic have brought in a number of forwards this season, but none have really taken hold of the role. The team has kept changing things, and that has affected how they attack. You could see it again at Tannadice. Balls were going into the box, but there was no one consistently there to meet them. When chances dropped loose, there was a pause instead of someone reacting quickly. Now it comes down to the final run of games. Celtic are chasing and need to put wins together, but displays like this don't give much confidence. Sutton's point about ONeal also fits with how things look. He's been brought in to steady it, but the problems in the squad are still there, and they're showing at a stage where there's no room left for slip-ups. Now for the main story, as Martin ONeal has provided an update on a key defender after he missed the defeat at Tannadice and the recent win over Motherwell. The right-back has not been involved in training in recent days, and his absence has been felt in the squad. He had been used as an option on the right side of the defence, especially with Alistair Johnston working his way back to fitness. Without him, Celtic have had to adjust, bringing in other players to cover that area. That change has affected how Celtic play down that flank. The player offers pace and recovery when the ball turns over, and without that, the balance shifts. Against Dundee United, that side of the pitch looked less secure when dealing with direct play. The timing of the injury also matters. With the season moving into its final stretch, Celtic need as many options available as possible. Missing 2 games already, his situation is now one to watch heading into the international break. ONeal said he's missing, he's down, and he's getting treatment and being rehabbed at his football club at Bournemouth. He's not sure if he'll be available after the international break, but the extra 2 weeks could help. The update confirms that the player is not currently with the squad and is instead back with Bournemouth for treatment. That suggests the issue is not a minor one, even if there is still hope he can return soon. The mention of the international break gives a bit of room. It offers time for recovery without immediate pressure to return for the next fixture. In the meantime, Celtic will need to continue finding solutions on the right side. With Johnston still building fitness, the options remain limited, particularly with Colby Donovan limping off at Tannadice. That leaves ONeal balancing risk and availability. Bringing players back too early is not an option, especially with the run of games still to come. In other news, Martin ONeal did not try to dress it up after Celtic's defeat at Tannadice. The Irishman was clear in his assessment of both the result and the performance, especially after a second half where the game slipped away. Celtic had plenty of the ball, mainly in the first half, but never really looked like breaking Dundee United down. That lack of edge in the final third has been there for a while now, and it cost them again here. When Dundee United went ahead early in the second half, the game shifted. Celtic had to come out more, and that left space behind. The second goal followed not long after, and from that point it always looked a long way back. ONeal pointed to that drop after the break as the key part of the game. He said, yeah, very disappointing, of course. The result, naturally, and the performance in the second half did not match anything at all. We had a lot of possession in the first half. We couldn't penetrate them, really. They got the goal and deserved to win the game. It's a big blow to us, with games running down. We can't really afford to do that. It always seems to be catch up. Today is a blow, but we're not finished yet. We disappointed an awful lot of people here today. That tells the story of the match. Celtic had control of the ball, but not the answers. Dundee United stayed compact, defended their box well, and took their chances when they came. The bigger picture is getting harder to ignore. With fewer games left, Celtic are chasing and can't afford many more days like this. That pressure has been there for a while, but this result makes it clearer. There is still time, and ONeal made that point, but there's no room left for slip-ups. Celtic now need a run where the performance matches the result, something that hasn't quite come together often enough in recent weeks. In other news, Ange Postoglo has spoken about the work going on behind the scenes at Celtic, picking out Sean Maloney and Mark Fotheringham for praise in Martin O'Neill's current setup. The former Hoops boss pointed to the coaching group as the team pushed through a demanding run of games. O'Neill stepped back in during a tough period, and results have picked up since then. That hasn't come from one voice alone. The work on the training pitch and in preparation has been shared, with familiar faces playing their part. Maloney has taken on a clear role in that group. He's been working closely with the attacking players, helping with movement and decision-making in the final third. That tends to show in games where Celtic need to break down teams sitting deep. Fotheringham's role is less obvious, but it feeds into how the team is set up. Midfield shape and positioning have looked more settled lately, especially when Celtic are trying to see games out. Postacoglu said he came across Sean a couple of times in Scotland. He's well connected at Celtic and is very passionate about the club. His understanding is that he's a very good coach as well. Martin trusts him a great deal to drive a lot of the programme, which is important. He thinks you should delegate to the people around you. Sean's a big part of it. Martin has Mark Fotheringham as well. They've got a good group there. The circumstances have been difficult because they've come in twice. That's really hard as a management team to drive a really successful club through a tough period. They've done an outstanding job, and that's a credit to all of them. The point about trust stands out. O'Neill has leaned on the staff around him rather than trying to do everything himself. That allows more detail in the work during the week, which often shows when games become tight. There have been spells this season where Celtic have lost control in matches. Lately, they look more organised when they lose the ball and clearer in how they build attacks. That kind of change comes from the work done between games. With the schedule packed, the staff have had to get their ideas across quickly. Postecoglou's view reflects that. What happens on the training ground carries into match day, and Celtic have started to look more settled as that work begins to show. Lastly, there's been plenty of talk about the state of the pitch at Tannadice after yesterday's defeat. The playing surface didn't do either team any favours, with both sides struggling to get into any kind of rhythm during what turned into a scrappy encounter. Celtic's style of play relies heavily on quick passing and movement, but the bobbling surface made that almost impossible at times. The ball wasn't running true, and you could see the players struggling to control it properly throughout the match. This isn't the first time the Tannadice pitch has come under scrutiny. It's been an issue for visiting teams all season, but for a club like Celtic, who pride themselves on playing football on the deck, it becomes an even bigger problem. Dundee United were able to adapt better, sitting deep and dealing with the conditions by playing a more direct style. Celtic, on the other hand, found themselves caught between trying to play their usual game and having to adjust to a surface that simply wasn't allowing them to do that. The frustration was clear to see. Passes that should have been simple were bouncing awkwardly. First touches that are normally clean became difficult to control, and in a game where Celtic needed to be at their sharpest, the pitch took away one of their biggest strengths. Now, you can't blame the entire defeat on the playing surface. Celtic still had chances, still had the majority of possession, and still should have done better with what they created. But there's no denying that the state of the pitch made life significantly harder for a team trying to play passing football. It's something that needs addressing. That's all the latest Celtic news for today. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. Hail, hail.